What is up, guys? My name is Tausif Hussain, and today we're talking about one of my favorite tech products of all time, and that is the iPad Pro. Now, pretty much for the better part of the full last year, I've been primarily using my iPad Pro for pretty much anything and everything other than video editing. So when it came to video editing, I would use the Mac that's docked back there to that big screen that you see there. So that's pretty much my video editing setup. However, if I'm going outside anywhere, or if I'm taking notes, even if I'm at home and I'm just browsing Safari or researching something, or just want to type up a document or anything, I'm using this guy. The one I have here is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro in space gray in 256 GB iteration. The reason why I went with the 12.9-inch is because it's just big enough for it to replace my laptop, but not as big as my laptop, so it makes it lighter and more convenient to pretty much carry around with me anywhere and everywhere. So having used the iPad Pro for pretty much every single day over the last year, I decided to put together a bunch of apps that I regularly use and I thought you guys might enjoy. So without further delay, let's get started. The first category we're going to talk about is productivity. Now, this is one of the key uses of the iPad Pro. In fact, a lot of people get the iPad Pro in order for it to be a productivity machine on the go that they can use as a hybrid tablet computer device. And to kick things off, we have Apple's very own Notes. Now, I've used several different Notes applications and I keep coming back to this one. It's simple, it's convenient, and it's straightforward. My main requirement for a Notes app is that I need to be able to format different sections of the note in order to organize my thoughts better, especially when I'm typing up a video script for a YouTube video such as this one. And another requirement I have is I need to be able to put checklists into my notes so that I can kind of check off as I do shots, for example. So I kind of have like a shot list going as well, and I check those off as I get those shots. So it's just a complete app that I can use across all my Apple devices, so I really do like it. So number one is Notes. Next up is my favorite email client, which is Spark Email. Now, I've been using Spark for pretty much the past year, and I gotta say this is hands down the most productive I've been with email. My favorite thing about Spark is the way that it categorizes your emails, and it does it so accurately into different sections. So for example, for me, it has personal, newsletters, notifications, pinned, and seen. So if I have anything important, it automatically filters it to the personal section, and then all my newsletters go into newsletters, and if I have any notifications such as shipping notifications or receipts or anything like that, it kind of goes into notifications. Now, this has helped me in a few places where I didn't know that a client or a brand or somebody have emailed me and I just wouldn't have gotten back to them in time, or I would have completely forgot about it, but because of Spark, it showed up at the top and I was on top of it. You also have some other neat features. For example, you can snooze emails. So let's say you get an important email and then you see the notification, but you don't want to receive it right now because you're busy. You can just swipe to snooze it, and then it will remind you again later on in the evening or like a couple hours down the road. Next up, we have calendars. Now, this is my favorite calendar app, which I've been using for pretty much the past year as well. For several reasons. Firstly, I really like the clean outlay, like the clean design where I can see the full entire month in one view. Now, my biggest gripe with Apple's native calendar is that the moment you open up calendar, and even if you go into month view, this is what you get. And I can't really see what I have in the upcoming month. Versus when I open up calendars, I can see, okay, like at a quick glance, what are all the things that I have coming up over the next month. So this makes it really helpful to look at your calendar at a glance. I also really like the fact that you have smart input for locations and timings, so I don't need to enter that in separately. I can literally just open up the search field and start typing an event and where it is and at what time, and it will just do all the information for me and create that event. Another thing I really like about this email is that I can literally move around events from days to other days just by dragging and dropping. So whenever someone reschedules on you, or if you're like me and you love procrastinating, then it's just as simple as dragging the event to the next day, and voila, your calendar's just freed up, and now you can just relax the rest of the day. All it took was this. You just gotta swipe that finger over. Boom, done. And the last thing I'll mention about the Calendars app, which I love, is that you can sync it with several different apps, including the Reminders app from iOS, which is surprising because I don't think even the iOS calendar does that. The last app we're going to talk about in this category is called Things 3. So here's the thing. Now, I actually talked about this app in a video I did with my friend Canoopsy over on his channel, and because I'm pretty lazy and I'm not going to talk about it again, I'm just going to play that right here. I hope you guys don't mind. Now, my favorite iPad Pro app currently is called Things 3, and it is an organizational powerhouse. Here's why. Firstly, the second you open it up, you'll notice that the UI is super simple and clean and easy to understand. Over to your left, you'll see the standard tasks to do today and upcoming tasks, etc. However, down here you have the ability to add categories and projects for specific things in your life. So if you're trying to work on multiple things at once, this really helps you stay organized. Within each of the categories and projects, you can add tasks, and within the tasks, you can add notes, you can add checklists, schedule them, tag them with specific labels, and even flag them for deadlines, so you know when to get it done. So this much flexibility and the amount of layers really allows me to get creative in the way that I want to stay organized. Okay, Tausif, thank you for that. Now back to our video. Now the next category we're going to talk about is called utilities. Now the apps in this category are apps that I use for specific need cases. So the first one we're going to talk about is called GoodNotes 5. Now, GoodNotes 5 allows me to take full advantage of the Apple Pencil by allowing me to take handwritten notes and also to annotate documents. And after you handwrite your notes, the best part is you can even search words, which beats notes on a piece of paper any time of day, because you can actually look up notes from any point in time or history just by searching for those words. So GoodNotes 5 is smart enough to basically index your handwritten notes for you to pull up through search words, which is pretty awesome. The next app I'm going to talk about is called Baby Monitor, and it is honestly the best app you can get for parenting. It's literally made me a better parent. So basically the way it works is, as long as you have an Apple device, you can download the app on your Mac, your iPad, your iPhone, and even your Apple Watch. And then you set up one of your devices in a room where your child is sleeping or any place where you want to monitor, which is kind of creepy if you're not using it for this purpose, but hey. Hey, I'm not there to judge. I'm not. So anyways, basically you can set up one device and then use any one of your other Apple devices to monitor what's happening. You can do things like turn on the flash remotely in order to see better. You can even adjust the brightness of the flash. Then you can also turn on the mic to talk to them. So let's say if they wake up or you just want to communicate to someone there, you can just press the mic button and talk to them. You can play soothing sounds or songs remotely. You can even set up notifications so that if there's any movement or if there's any sound inside the room, then it'll alert you, and that's pretty much where the Apple Watch really comes in handy. So usually what I'll do is I'll set up a phone or an iPad inside the room, and then I'll just turn it on my Apple Watch, and then if there's any movement or any sounds or anything like that, I can see on my Apple Watch, and I can also get that alert on my phone and everywhere else. The last app I'm going to talk about in this category is called Carrot Weather. Now this is my favorite weather app of life. Like, not only is it super accurate, but it's also super fun and entertaining. Every time you open up the app, there's always a funny, quirky message that appears at the top that legitimately makes me chuckle so many times. It also gives you a ton of weather info in a very easy to read manner. For example, as the temperature goes up, so do these symbols throughout the day, throughout the week, and you can kind of just scroll through and see the different temperatures and when it's going to be the highest and lowest. The symbol itself also shows you the weather conditions, and at the bottom you can also see the chance of precipitation. So you know whether it's going to rain and what are the chances of precipitation on that day. And also along the top you have the time. And then if you click on any specific day, it gives you a ton more information, such as what it feels like, the wind chill, the wind, and all that other good stuff. Now the last and final category we're going to talk about is called creativity. So these are some of the apps that I use to be creative on the iPad Pro per se. Now, a lot of the apps that I've already mentioned and I'm going to continue to mention really lend themselves to being extra productive when you have a good keyboard. And that's where my friends at Logitech come in. A keyboard for the iPad Pro really makes a big difference. And my personal favorite one, and the one I've been using for the past 6 months, is the Logitech Slim Folio Pro. So Logitech reached out to me and wanted to sponsor a video, so I said, heck yes. I love it when there's a product made by a brand that I use and I love so much, and the brand wants to work with me and support me. I'm all for that. So this video is sponsored by Logitech. The number one reason to get this keyboard is the key travel and the typing experience. It's just so good. It's unparalleled. Also, you have backlit keys, which is super helpful, especially when you're typing at night or you're in a dark room or anything like that, which is also pretty helpful. The battery life also lasts for a heck of a long time, and it also provides a bunch of shortcut keys right at the top, which makes things super helpful. Like for example, on the Apple keyboard, you don't have like the play, pause, and forward or rewind or volume up, volume down, those sort of shortcuts. You don't have that on the Apple keyboard. However, on this one, you can get it. Now, the main downside to this particular keyboard is in pursuit of protection, they've added more weight and more bulkiness to it. So if you're actually using the keyboard on day-to-day, then you'll notice that there's a lot more protection around the sides, the corners, and it does make the iPad Pro quite a bit thicker if you're going to be carrying it around. That being said, thank you so much Logitech for supporting this channel, and now back to the apps. The first app I'd like to talk about in creativity is Affinity Photo. Now, I've been using Photoshop for quite some time now, and I tried Affinity Photo recently, and honestly, I was sold right away. Like, it is so powerful, it is so good, and the best thing about it is it's just a one-time charge. You can download it on your Mac, you can download it on your iPad, and it pretty much allows me to do everything I would need to do on Photoshop, and I can do it on Affinity Photo. For example, the way I edited this photo for my Apple Watch ceramic video, and it took out the string that was technically holding this watch, I was just able to do it on Affinity Photo, and I didn't have any issues at all. The next app I'm going to talk about in this category is Lightroom CC. Now, Lightroom is just an app that I've been using for so long in order to edit my photos, whether that's for thumbnails or whether that's for Instagram or whether it's just for family sometimes. Now, I love Lightroom, and I love using Lightroom on the iPad. More than the computer even, because I can use the Apple Pencil and make precise adjustments and do some masking and stuff. And now with iPad OS, you can literally plug in an SD card through a dongle to your iPad, import all the photos, edit them on Lightroom, and then export them through AirDrop onto your iPhone to upload onto Instagram. Boom, done. What a workflow that is. Beautiful. We're living in the future, folks. And the last app for the iPad that I'm going to talk about is LumaFusion. Now, I've been using this app a little bit over the past couple months just for some simple video edits, and it's worked quite nice. And the reason why I like doing that is because I take my iPad with me everywhere, and let's say, for example, I'm commuting on the train, I don't got to take my full-out 15-inch MacBook Pro, and I'm sitting there with like a whole bunch of people and just trying to edit with like a SD card hooked in and everything. So in order to avoid that situation, I can just edit my A-roll on the go on the iPad, and it's quick, it's snappy. The app hasn't lagged on me at all, and everything just renders so beautifully. Like, it's such a good app, and it's well designed. It's just missing a few features which would make this my primary editing tool. However, I'm still part of the hashtag bring Final Cut Pro to the iPad. So if that happens, then I mean, that's just a game changer. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found some cool, neat apps that you can try out yourself and you thought might be beneficial to your workflow or whatever you want to do with it. Whether they're productivity apps or utility apps or creativity apps. And that being said, that's it for today. If you liked this video and found it beneficial, make sure you guys go ahead and crush that like button. If you like content around tech, gadgets, filmmaking, and lifestyle, make sure you guys go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And as usual, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace. Why is the screen so dirty? Oh my god, I got like some like intense like waves going like surfboard. That's better, I think, a little bit. So you just open up the calendar app, put your finger on the event, and boom, done. You don't even know which day it's gonna land on. That way you just push it out of your eyes, push it out of your mind, and you just don't gotta worry about it. That's the way I do it. That's why my videos are so sporadic. Now it all makes sense. Yeah.